So we will be sharing that secret word later in the call. Likely by the end of the call, just to let you guys know.
Yes. I
I
love
love
getting
that a lot.
follow-ups.
Thank
Yeah.
you. All right, and it looks like we're live, so should be good to get started now.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen now. I always like to start with a little bit of a slide deck.
Mhm.
Chibi, let me know when you can see it. Screen. See it?
All right, I can see it. And please, everyone in the audience, if you can confirm that you can see Kenny's screen too.
Yes, that'll be nice. Please confirm if you can see it. You're all amazing. Thank you for coming again today, by the way. Just want to say thank you guys for always being here. Today, I want to talk about Login with Collab.Land. And this is something that isn't very public yet. So if you're here today, that is, you're getting some kind of special treatment, actually. You're probably one of the first people to hear about this, what we're going to be talking about today. So consider yourself a privileged person and one of the inner circle members of the Collab.Land ecosystem. So what is Login with Collab.Land? Let me just kind of like give a high level overview of what it is. It is just the equivalence of every other social network login provider, like Facebook, Twitter, Google, LinkedIn, GitHub, Reddit, any one of them, where a user can sign into a third-party website with an existing account on either of those places instead of having to, manually create a new one. I don't think this is new to anyone. It's probably something that we are all used to. When you get to a new website and you want to log in, or they ask you to create an account, but then instead of doing all of that, you see a button, log in with Google, or log in with your GitHub account, or sign in with Facebook. I think that is like a user process that a lot of us have gone through. And this is basically a product that allows you to do the same thing, but in this case with Collab.Land. So it saves you as a user the stress of having to, type your email and password and create a username, or providing your wallet address and whatever else information they are going to ask you for in the registration form. You can hit a button to click to log in with Collab.Land, and that would be it. So to give a little bit of a more visual representation to what that would look like is, very often, most of us have clicked one of these buttons more times than we can count, right? So what today's session is about is basically telling you that there's going to be this other button, sign in with Collab.Land, that will be showing up on some places very soon when this product is available to the public. So what that does is just similar to what every other button there does. It just shares it just authenticates you so that so that you can sign into other websites with your Collab.Land identity. And this is going to be a very quick session because I want to give you some high level overview of how this works. Then I will show you how to use it. But just to call out earlier on as we're starting the session that this is not available for production use yet. So everything I'm going to tell you today is just how things are going to be working in development for now. So how this is going to work is developers, Collab.Land we are currently building a dev portal, which would serve as like a developer dashboard for every Collab.Land developer out there, or anyone in the future who's going to want to build either Miniapps, or you want to build token gated websites in the future, or you want to build using any of Collab.Land's APIs. You're going to need to create what we call a client application via the dev portal, and you're going to request for API keys. Then you provide some details about the client app you're trying to build, what name it is, what domain it will be on, what will be the redirect URL, what will be the webhook name, all the information about your app per se. Let's say in this context, I'm just going to make up a fake name just to give it a little bit more meaning. Let's say that you want to build I don't know, a gaming site, a Fortnite gaming site, for instance. Then you're going to tell Collab.Land, my app is Fortnite gaming site, the redirect URL is fortnitegaming-site.com, or all the information that is going to be required of you to provide about that client app. You will submit all of that information via the dev portal. And then Collab.Land will review and approve that information. Based off of what we know, we can check your domain, we can talk to you directly, try to get a deeper understanding of what your project is going to be about. And if we like what we hear back from you, then we're going to approve that, and we're going to issue API keys to you for the scopes that you've asked for. While you're doing that application, you're going to get the opportunity to select API scopes, right? Which would basically inform us on this is the things that you need from Collab.Land. Maybe you need to call our community's endpoint. Maybe you need to call our vCreds endpoint. Maybe you need to call our token gating endpoint. All of that will be available to you in the process of creating your client app. So you can tell us all the scopes that you would need, and we will look at that and we will approve all of that for you. Now, for you to be able to use the LWC flow, the way we are designing it at the moment is you're going to pass all of that information, including your redirect URL that you've registered with Collab.Land, the state of your application, the platform that you would like users to authenticate themselves with, right? When a user clicks on that login with Collab.Land button, which platform do you want them to authenticate themselves from? Do you want it to be Discord? Do you want it to be Telegram, Reddit? You pass all of that information to us. You pass the response type. Usually it's going to be a token, and then the scopes that you want to get from the user, because this is how we are able to ask the users for permission to grant access to you or to your client app to access their data. Then when you've submitted all of that information, maybe via an API call, Collab.Land will authenticate that client application, which is your app, and then confirm that your client ID is correct, your redirect URL is correct. And then we're going to return a Collab.Land login link for your app to use and request for the users to authenticate. Now, at this point, all you have to do is display that. That is where your display Collab.Land login button is going to come in play. You show that button to the user and ask them, authenticate yourself with Collab.Land instead of having to, create a new account or to log in. And then from that point forward, when the client app requests for users to log in via the platform, the user would maybe, if via the request body that you sent to Collab.Land, if you've selected the platform of authentication to be Discord or to be Telegram or wherever, the user will click on that button. It will take them to that platform. They will authenticate themselves and sign into that platform. Now, on successful authentication, Collab.Land will then prompt that user, hey, the Fortnite gaming app, or whatever you name your app, is trying to access your data. The data that they have requested for will be in the scopes that we're going to show the user. So we're going to say that this client application is asking, it's asking for your username, it's asking for your avatar, it's asking for your wallet address, it's asking for your vCreds, it's asking for the communities you belong to, it's asking for the roles you hold in those communities. Depending on the scopes that the client applications have defined that they need to get access to from the user, we are going to ask the users for all of that information. So that will be at the point where they have authenticated themselves via the platform that the client application has specified for them. Then the users will at that point click, okay, I accept, I authorize that. I allow this client app to have access to all of this of my data. If that is the case, then Collab.Land is going to grant an access token to the client app, and the client app is going to be able to query for all of this data on behalf of the user, and we will supply that. If at that point the user says, you know what, no, you're asking for a little too much. I do not want to share all of this data with that client application. Please do not do it. Then Collab.Land will default will redirect the client app to a failure page, or maybe one of our error pages, to show that, hey, the user did not grant any access to their data. So at that point, the journey ends for that user, so they don't grant access to their resources. And that is typically how this flow is going to work. At a high level summary of it is, the client app is going to get registered with Collab.Land, so we have an opportunity to review that client application, see what it does, get some idea of what they want to do and what kind of data they're going to be looking for, because they will also submit the scopes of what they need from Collab.Land API. Then Collab.Land is going to allow them to call our login URL to allow users to authenticate themselves via any platform of their choice. And when they do that, Collab.Land is going to prompt the user like, hey, this client application wants access to XYZ of your data. Do you want to give it to them or not? And then the users are going to have the final say of this process. They're going to say, okay, yeah, share my data with them, or no, do not do that. And either way, that will be, the users will be the final deciders of how that flow goes. And some popular use cases that we have seen for this, or that at least I'm anticipating for this, is game developers are going to leverage Collab.Land for user registration and authentication. And we have a lot of gaming communities on Collab.Land. We have a lot of NFT communities. So I imagine this being very helpful and very useful to all of those people who want to maybe get some Collab.Land identification for their users on their website. Because I imagine you already have that set up correctly on your Discord. But if you want to have that, replicate that kind of functionality anywhere else, you can immediately use Login with Collab.Land, and all of your users who log into your website or your app or wherever you're building will already share their Collab.Land identity with you if they approve that, if they authorize that. And this is also something I think is going to be very helpful for many app developers. For instance, when a mini app requires user details, Collab.Land will ask for user authorization. And if the user grants that request, then we will attach an API access token to the client's request, and we'll fetch the scopes granted by the users automatically, so that the client app does not have to go back and forth with us. So we will do all of that work under the hood and ensure that maybe what we can do as Collab.Land is we can return an authorization button and then ask the user, okay, these are the scopes that if you want to use this mini app, maybe it's a, I don't know, gaming mini app or any kind of mini app, we can return a button from Collab.Land saying, hey, this mini app wants to access your value, they want to access your roles, they want to check your the communities you're a part of. Do you want to grant access to that? And if they authorize that, then we will just attach an API access token to the client app, and we will fetch whatever data they need from the user to them. So this is something that I see also being very helpful for many app developers. Yesterday and 2 days ago, we've been working with a couple of mini app developers who are actually looking for a way to do this, because very often one of the questions that we've gotten the most is, Collab.Land is a community that has a lot of authenticated users. You know, almost everyone who is in a Collab.Land community has connected their wallet, has authenticated themselves. So this is a huge pool of authenticated people. So I want to put my products there because I know these are genuine people who are doing credible things. So how do we take advantage of that without necessarily having to ask users to connect their wallet again? And we have a policy here at Collab.Land, and that is we do not share user details unless those users explicitly says share that, you know. And we've run into situations where developers would ask us, okay, you can share these details, and we can't get it unless the users approve it. So how do we ask the users to approve it for us? Because it seemed like there's really no way forward from that point. But that is also what the Login with Collab.Land flow helps with, is it presents you with a way to ask for user authorization anytime you need access to user data. And then I think moving on, we also see this being helpful to authenticated websites and web applications, because sometimes as well, just like our TGR endpoints works, is you can conditionally ask people to log in with their Collab.Land IDs, or if you want to know who your users are, you could just as easily use the login with Collab.Land button, and whenever they sign in and grant and authorize access to their data, Collab.Land can share, their username, their avatar, their banners, their community, or whatever you need to hold identity in your application. All right, moving on. I wanted to call out some applicable personas, and the way that this flow is designed so far, it seems like it is completely focused on the members, right? Because you would want to, allow members to authorize themselves. That is what we want to do, so that at any point, if you want to build a mini app, or you want to build a web app and you want to use Login with Collab.Land, we give you an opportunity to ask users to authorize themselves. But we also have a second persona. In this case, it could be community admins, right? Because I imagine that someone tomorrow would build a mini app that would want to get access to community data, right? And at that point, it has nothing to do with the members. It's more of it's going to be a request that only a community admin can authorize. Say for instance, a mini app or a website that you're building requests access to the community's members, right? How many members are in this community? Or I want to know what are the token gated rules that exist in this community, or what credentials does this community require? What assets do this community have on their wallets and things like that? It would be a second person, and that would be community admins, because only them will be able to authorize that kind of request from client applications. And then lastly, this is something that I wanted to talk about as well, is our API scopes. And the way that I'm thinking about it is, when you log in with Collab.Land and you get an access token from Collab.Land to request data on behalf of the user, we do not immediately give you access to every user data. We are going to make this a scoped kind of subscription pattern, where we have some of our scopes that are free tiers and some scopes that are paid tiers. When we roll out this product, we are going to put that on the documentation and put that also maybe on the dev portal, or wherever that information is going to be helpful and to be discoverable by developers. But we want to make it in such a way that when you log in a user using that login with Collab.Land flow, that at the end of that flow, when you get the access token, you should be able to request some data because the user has authorized you to do so, right? And maybe, and this is just speaking speculatively, we could say, okay, you have access to the account scope. You can read through the accounts and see, who the user is, what they are connected, what the accounts are, what scopes that you can request in that scope. And then for the second one, we could say you can get access to the community scope as well. See the communities they belong to, maybe see the roles they hold there. And we have probably an uncountable amount of scopes that you can possibly request for. But all of these scopes, what we will do is we will figure out which of these scopes we are going to place in the free tier and the ones we are going to place on the paid tier, so that because what we want to do is make sure that you as a developer, you get some value back when you've done the work of integrating login with Collab.Land into your workflow. And when a user signs in and authorizes your client app to request for their data, we want to make sure that you're able to get some valuable data back. And then if you want to dig deeper, if you want to get a little bit more nuanced data about that user, then that could fall under the paid tiers, And for instance, if you wanted to get like analytics kind of data, that could potentially be a paid tier scope that you would need to subscribe to. All right, so what I wanted to do is just close up with a demo that would show you how this would potentially work in practice. So I have this POC that I built. Let me just be sure that this is still running in production. So this is currently on staging. If you look at the URL, you see that it's on localhost 3000. What I'm doing here is I put in a login with Collab.Land button. And although I'm using Collab.Land brand assets here, but this could be any other app. This could be someone else's app. Anybody could build this. So don't see this as a Collab.Land product. It's not. It's just a Next.js POC that I built. And the whole idea is to show you how this is going to work, or how this currently works in the, at the moment, so that you can get some visual idea. So what I want to do here is anybody that comes to this website, I want them to log into my website with their Collab.Land accounts. And when they do that, what I want to do is I want to get an access token from Collab.Land, and then I will request, I'll make an API call to Collab.Land and fetch all the users, all their communities, the communities that they belong to, and also maybe the roles that they have or the roles that exist in those communities. So let me do that. I'll click login with Collab.Land. It will take me to the Collab.Land login page, and then I would choose which platform that I want the user to authenticate themselves with. In this case, all of the supported platforms are showing because I didn't specify anyone. If you specified maybe Discord alone or Telegram alone, then that would be what shows up here. Because I left it empty, Collab.Land will give me all of the options. So I will go ahead and select to authenticate myself. In this case, I'm just a user, right? I'm not the owner of the site. So I will authorize this. And what would happen is then Collab.Land will issue an access token to this client application, and the client application can use that access token to make an API call to Collab.Land to fetch the communities that I belong to and the roles that exist in that community. And this is all done via code. Like, you can basically ask for any kind of data on behalf of the user if they authorize it. Something that is missing in this flow that we are currently working on is when the user authorizes access, and let me do that again just so that I get an opportunity to talk about it. If I do login with Discord, so at this point, when I click authorize, immediately you would you would get the access token and make that API call. But what we're going to do, and what we're currently doing that is currently in the pipeline, is before we show you this, before we make this API call and show you the communities, we're going to ask the users to accept the token, the scopes that the client app is asking for, right? That is currently not part of this process, but that is a key component to how we're going to roll out the LWC flow. Is we want to make sure that we're giving, because what we did with the Discord one was basically user login, right? There's no authorization happening there. We're just logging in the user. But then after they authorize that and they log in, then we want to ask them, Kenny's client app is asking for access to your communities and to your roles. Do you want to grant that client app that authorization? And when they do grant that, then we can make that API call and fetch those data back for them. And that's how that works, right? The last thing that I wanted to show is if you wanted to test this right now, it is possible to use this, but only in development, right? If you go to the Collab.Land documentation, we have a login with Collab.Land flow section. And if you can find that, you can use the search tool. We have search for LWC, and it will bring you to this page. And then you would see how you just get some bit of information on how this works and what you can do with it. So if you want to try that out, you can try that. And if you have some feedback for us, you can give us some feedback on how that works. If there's anything that you probably think will be useful or helpful to you as a developer while you use this tool, you can also let us know on the Dev General channel. So I think this is it. I did mention that this is going to be a very quick session. So I am going to pause here and ask for questions if there are any. If there aren't, then as always, myself and the rest of the Collab.Land team will be available on the Dev General channel to kind of like provide any technical support or answer any questions that you would like to ask us there. Uh, Over to you now, Chibi. I think that's it.
Oh, that was fantastic. That's super exciting. We love some alpha for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think maybe while we ask to see if there's any questions, we can maybe distribute the POAP now. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Let's do it.
Let's do this then. All right. So, for everyone in the audience, maybe you're familiar with the process, but if you are not yet, we will be distributing our POAP today with the POAP Miniapp. It's all done within Discord. And all you have to do is to use the slash command, POAP claim, and then that's going to ask you for a secret phrase. And in that little box, you are going to write collab join, collab as in Collab.Land, so that's COLLAB, login as in LOGIN, collab login. Those two words together, there's no spaces in between, and it's all lowercase. Again, the secret word is collab login. As soon as you write that down, you can hit enter, and that should give you a link to claim your POAP. Please let us know if it worked. Thank you, Nerd. He linked the command in the state channel, so you can click that, and then you just need to write collab join. Sorry, collab login. That's the secret word to claim the POAP. Please let us know if it worked in the
It
chat.
worked.
Awesome. I love this
Yeah.
one. Anjali made it, and I think it's really cute. I love the colors.
Yeah, I think I like it too. I think this is very cool. I don't know how you make it so quickly and it's looking so fine. I have a couple of these now and I go back every now and then to look at them.
It's Anjali's magic. She's great at designing this.
Yeah. I think Nerd is here, or maybe Chibi, you can also explain to the audience how to get the dev role or how to get the builder role so that they can get
Mhm.
access to the dev general chat.
Absolutely. So, for anyone in the audience who doesn't have access to the Dev General chat yet, you can go to the Get Roles channel. I will send it in the stage chat real quick. So, you can click that and you will see some messages there. I think it's the first message, but let's confirm real quick. Okay, so in the second message, you will see that we have a builder role, and you can self-select that role by clicking the arm, like the mechanical arm emoji that's in the reactions. And that's how you self-assign the role. And as soon as you have it, you will have access to the Dev General chat. So you can ask your questions in there. You can join the conversation if you're interested in these kind of conversations, in these topics. So yeah, that's all you have to do. Go to the Get Roles channel and self-select the builder role. That's how you get access to it.
Awesome. I'll be looking forward to anyone that comes to the Dev General chat. Something else that could be of value for you to join the chat, the channel is that is also where we have conversations about, token gating rules, mini app development, website token gating rules as well. Any questions or any concerns, or maybe you just want to share some ideas or talk to some of us and see what we think about your ideas, that would be where that conversation would be best had. So Even if you're not building anything with the LWC flow yet, I would still recommend you to join and just talk to us there, and we can help you validate ideas and all sorts of things. We do have fun. It's a dev channel, but we still have fun, you know. So come hang out with us there, ask questions, and we'll be happy to answer you.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
And I see some people asking for the secret phrase in the chats. So, again, the secret phrase is Collab.Login, all lowercase with no spaces in between. Collab.Login. Those two words together. That would be COLLAB, just as in Collab.Land. And then LOGIN, login. That's the secret phrase.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you, Chibi.
absolutely. And just a
Oh
quick
my God,
reminder.
I'm getting a lot of kudos in the chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Oh,
Anjali. Thank you, Ayatinde. Wow, this is really cool. Thank you.
you love to see it.
I know they are making my day.
Oh, we love sharing kudos as well. Oh, and sure. And in order to claim the POAP, all you need to do is to use the POAP claim / comment. Let's share a screenshot of that real quick. And then in the claim phrase, you use Collab.Login. There we go.
Yeah, that's it. All right, I'm gonna stop streaming now. Thank you, everyone. I will still be here, but I'll stop streaming. So if anyone wants to ask me anything, I will still be around. Thank you, Chibi, for having me.
Oh, thanks, Kenny. It's always fantastic hearing you explain and talk about these topics during DevRel office hours. I'm not very technical, but it's always super exciting. I think that you do a fantastic job explaining this, and you have a wonderful energy as well. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Right, we'll see you all next time. Thanks again. And oh, I guess a quick reminder, we also have Twitter Spaces later today. It is in the events channel if you would like to RSVP to it. It's going to be a very fun one, so please join and bring your questions. We'll be so happy to have you there. Right, and with this, I think that we're good to end the call. Thank you, Kenny, and thanks everyone in the audience. We'll see you guys next
Thank you,
time.
everyone. We'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.